Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on the Infinite Prosperity Podcast. My name is Louisa and I help high achievers, entrepreneurs, and coaches lift the lid on life and business so that they can live at their highest value. Each episode, we will bring you our favourite founders, CEOs, and guest experts to share with you their insights and strategies to expand your wealth consciousness, your spiritual leadership, and aligned business strategies. We know that living in alignment with your soul's mission is what fulfills you, and we are here to show you how to achieve this in an energetically aligned way. If you haven't already, be sure to claim your free abundance activation in the Akashic Records. Go to louisahavers.com/gift to unlock your abundance activation today. And if you'd like my support in having aligned success in life and business, then contact me at www.louisahavers.com and let's explore together if it's an aligned match. Get ready to live at your highest value and to expand into your next level of money as you elevate and receive more. You create more for others. Righty ho, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so excited to have with us today one of my dear friends and mentors, Debb Cobb. Welcome, Debb.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh,
Very excited.
just honestly, goosebumps already. So, for everybody who has yet to meet Debb Cobb and to get to know why I'm so excited, I'm going to share your bio, my lovely. So, Debb is a spiritual sales coach and mentor and has been called a witch, a magician, a miracle worker, and a mystic by his students and clients. I was one of Debb's clients, just to put a shout out there.
One of the first.
I was your first.
One of,
One
yes.
of. Oh, well, I'm very honoured. And your clients include some of the world's most well-known 7- and 8-figure personal development and business programs as well. After a near-death experience from a failed suicide attempt at 16, Debb began hearing a voice that saved her life and since guided her to rise above the limitations of the 3D to create a life and business of her wildest dreams. In her podcast, she shares how to activate your divine gifts and abundance by treating your business and sales process as a spiritual being having a physical experience. Yes, speaking my language. I
Yeah.
love this, Deb. Welcome, a huge, huge welcome. It's such an honor to have you here.
Honored to be here. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely love it. So, I always like to ask people the big juicy question. What made you start your business? How did you get to do the magic, the witchery, the miracle workery that you're doing now?
Yes, yes. Well, as you know, it is a long-ish story. However, the bottom line is necessity. It really came to me, and it was after some personal development work, after I had discovered meditation, and I had already called in an opportunity to be a closer for a famous business coach at the time, and then realized that things aren't always what they seem from the outside, and it did not align with a couple of things in my like integrity.
Mhm.
Um, and I got that, that still small voice that's like, you should do your own thing. You should jump. You should start your own business. And I'm sitting here like like less than 6 months in as a closer going, who am I to start a bit at 6 months with experience?
Yeah.
But it just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't stay where I was anymore. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to be a sales coach now. Uh, I guess that's what I'm doing, and I took the leap before I had any clients, and then that story, I ended up traveling, to Puerto Rico and sitting there on the beach and going, "Who's gonna be my first client?" And it was Deepak Chopra. I mean, it was definitely listening to guidance, and necessity. What could have been the worst thing, losing, quote, unquote, "a role as a closer," ended up being 8 years of a sales coaching business, so, yeah.
with Deepak Chopra, which is just incredible, absolutely incredible. And I think that's one of the many things I love about you is that guidance and following your intuition is something that certainly for as long as I've known you has been how you flowed. And it really is the allowing the flow in your life and business by listening to that soft whisper that can then suddenly get kind of quite loud.
Yes, it can I think that that's probably why it's gotten loud in my life many times, and so I'm like, "I'm just gonna avoid that suffering and just take action," No, that's why. But thank you for saying that, I appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So started your business and as you were saying, you approach things very much from a spiritual perspective, and I love what you were saying about how your business is a spiritual being having a physical experience. And I'd love to hear more about how you apply this to your business. How being a spiritual being having a physical experience, how do you apply that to business?
Yeah, such a great question. And isn't it always the case that the truth is so simple and yet we make it so difficult at the end of the day? And it's been part of being behind the scenes of a lot of these bigger companies. And I noticed that because I know the owners very well, right? And then I also see the sales team and I know what's going on as far as numbers behind the scenes. And I noticed that the energy of the business owner absolutely affected the funnel. And also that the energy of the sales closer, I would be coaching a team of like 7 closers. It absolutely, I almost couldn't believe it watching, these different closers have the same availability, same script, same leads, such different results at the end of the day. And it wasn't just about mindset. It really
Mm.
wasn't. There was something more, and so I started this little it's not a scientific experiment, more anecdotal, right? Because I don't have a huge data set and, I might have been a little biased on the, back end, but all of that to say, evidence was showing that it's not what you do or say that matters, it's who you're being, and that led me down a path of, well, wait a second, at the end of the day, everything is energy, everything, and you know that. It's all not physical. But we get up in our brains and we forget that, and we compartmentalize our business. So I would work with so many open-hearted, psychic, spiritual, energy healers that were all like they got it in the spirit in their business and in the things that they were really great at, they understood it. But then when it came to the sales process, that's different. That no, that's
Energy doesn't
different.
matter now. Yeah.
Right, yeah, none of the spiritual stuff applies, and I'm like, "Mm." So that's where the spiritual art of sales came from, I was like, "Actually, it does." And it's so simple to apply the spiritual principles and to watch the results. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. So, I'm convinced now that we are all spiritual beings having physical experiences, and so is everything else in our life.
Yes,
Apply it to every
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why, when we started working together, God, how many years ago it was, why I resonated with you so much, because you completely led from that perspective. And of course, I'm about all about energy as well, and being able to um, lead conversations where ultimately you're inviting people to the highest service to be able to work with you if it's aligned for them to do so, and to be able to bring in the spiritual perspective within that. And was just makes, as a business owner, it instead of sales, because it's some of the old school training is so icky,
right,
to be able to actually be you and be authentic, and honor the spirituality within you and the other person whilst you're having the conversation, is one of the things that I'm so grateful that you helped me with, so that I could bring that into my business, and the conversations that I have with my clients, as well, and those that it's not aligned for us to work together, and for that to be their next aligned step is not right now. It needs
yeah,
it's got to be an aligned decision either way.
yeah, yeah, and when you take alignment like that, you're aligning with if you're telling someone no, and you're doing for them what you would want someone to do for you, you are literally abundance. You are embodying abundance, and that is the magic. And that's what our brain says. Nope, there's rules to sales that you have to follow, and the rules are what close the sale. And when we do that, we give the power to the physical thing, right? Versus embodying it and realizing all that we are and all that we're capable of. And so it's just aligning. It's so simple, right? It's the truth shall set you free, right? It's so simple. It's so simple, and yet, it's very difficult to do by yourself because the brain is so convincing, and so, yeah,
I
that's
love that. The brain is so convincing. Isn't that the truth?
oh, yeah, yeah. It
Your
can
friend
argue
that
with
kept
anything.
yeah, like,
It'll
don't
show you
listen to
evidence. It'll prove anything to you. Yeah. Just ask it. It will.
Yeah. Don't listen to the brain.
Oh, the heart, they gotta be in alignment. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you mentioned about the spiritual art of sales. Tell us more about how it's different from other sales training and methods.
Yeah.
Anything
The
that we're
biggest
familiar with.
yeah, the biggest difference, it's so interesting, it's so nuanced, because you can say the same sentence, and it can come out completely differently based on who you're being in the moment, right? I always use the example of once I was asking my partner to take out the trash, and I was like, "Hey, can you take out the trash?" He's like, "Could you ask nicer?" And I was like, "I could. Could you please take out the trash?" It's a completely different experience, right? Like how so it really is not what we do or say that matters, it's who we're being. And that discovery and the embodiment of that principle really helped me to see, like eyes wide open, that the difference is, and I have goosebumps as I'm saying this, the difference is who do we believe or what do we believe is the cause? That's the difference. So it's not even the different rules or strategies or any of that, but it's who's the cause of the abundance? Who's the
Mhm.
cause of the close? Who and when you realize it's not what you're saying, it's the energy of what you're saying, then you're recognizing that you and your alignment with spirit, source, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, right? That's the cause. And when you realize that's the cause, then there's nothing. All things are possible. There's nothing, right, that can stop you. But when you give the power to the rule, it's the same with marketing, right? When you give the power to the funnel, your
Mm.
power away, and it there comes a point when you're ready to recognize your own power. And I believe it's different for everybody. And then things stop working. Your funnel stops working. Old, outdated sales things stop working. And you're like, it's always worked. Why wouldn't it continue to work? Rinse and repeat, right? And it's like, but there comes a point, right? When you are ready to really know your power and your source, and then, yeah, then it stops working. So the spiritual art of sales is that no person, place, or thing is the source of your abundance. That is a truth. No person, no place, no thing is the source of your abundance. And so sales, the scripts, strategies, the funnels, all of those things are great, but they're not the source of your abundance. That's the difference.
I love it. They're the pathways that we've created to make it easier for the universe
Yeah, exactly.
to
Yeah.
connect us. And it's so true. I've seen it in my own business around that piece you're saying when something's working and then it suddenly stops working, it's because my energy's gone out of alignment. I talk about it being like a strategic dissonance where you were in alignment with your strategy and then suddenly, for whatever reason, you've come out of alignment. And it might be an evolution in your consciousness. It might be something's happened that's made you kind of contract within, and then it's just playing out in your funnel, it's playing out in your sales calls, and it's just incredible how when I've seen it myself, like literally cleared the energy, and then then moments later a call's booked in, or you know
Of
whatever it might
course.
be, and it's incredible. It's like whoa.
It's like, wait, the universe really truly is a mirror showing me, like it really is. And that's what's so cool about entrepreneurship and sales is it's like a it's not for the faint of heart sometimes, but it's like a spiritual journey. It will bring out every doubt, fear, and insecurity that you have left. It'll bring out the wounds, right? And it brings those up so that we can see them and heal them and shift and realize in like instant. You get that feedback. It's like,
Yes,
oh, it's real. This works. I
it
can't
really
believe I
does.
forgot. But our brains, so
Yeah.
there's always that, right?
Can't remember what we had for breakfast, but I'll remember this.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
It's so true, so true. So I think you're talking about abundance, and of course, the language I use here is around prosperity. So I'd love to know what I ask everybody this question. So I want to ask you as well. What does prosperity mean to you?
That's such a good question. I thought about that this morning. I was like, "Ooh, what am I gonna say?" Like, I know how important prosperity is. Freedom, freedom. Yeah,
I immediately relax as I hear that word. I love it.
yeah.
I think ultimately that's what everyone craves, isn't it? Is that peace and freedom.
The ability to know that that you're always provided for, that you have an unlimited source of source, right? Unlimited. Um, Yeah, and the freedom, that's why essentially underneath why the story about why I started my business was freedom. So I could spend time with my daughter, right? Have
Mhm.
that. You get it. Kids are so important and spending that time and having the freedom. And that drives me, that really moves my heart is how can I help more people be free of the 9 to 5, right? If they want to be. How do you be free from any other source of abundance other than spirit, right? Source.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I love that freedom. It's so true. So you mentioned again about the journey of your business and wanting to create the freedom, and your business has gone through iterations.
Yeah,
So
yes,
I know that you've got some new things in play, and one of the things that, do you see it as a new brand?
yeah,
How do you see it as like a new
yeah,
brand that you have now?
yeah, I really do. I see it as it's related. Absolutely,
Hmm.
it's absolutely related to sales. However, I see this as somewhat separate because it can be for entrepreneurs or people that aren't entrepreneurs as well. So that's why I kind of differentiate it
Got it.
versus just being under the spiritual art of sales. It's still under Deb Cobb though, but it is different. And that's that manifestation piece, which is absolutely involved, right, in business and sales. Makes a huge difference if you are aware how you manifest versus how everyone else does, right? So it's really um, becoming becoming one with the manifester and the manifestation
I
versus
love it.
having it be external.
Well, you have secretly been an incredible manifester.
Yes, I have. I have. I've been hiding, hiding this, but I couldn't do it anymore. I had to teach it and
Mm.
to step into that because at 2024, the time is now. It really is. The time is now.
I've got goosebumps again. There's so many goosebumps going on in this episode. I love it. So I know that with your new brand, you've called it the mystery a mystery school. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit. What is a mystery school? I love that
Yeah.
title, a mystery school. I'm like,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
That's such a great question. My daughter asked me that actually because she thought it was just like a kitschy thing. And I was like, no, it's actually a real thing. So there are things. So mystery school is somewhat like the term high school would be, or trade school, or vocational school. It's just a type of school, and it dates back actually to several thousand years BC. So back to like the King Solomon days. And then you have the ancient mystery schools of Egypt and all of these different traditions where initiates were essentially taught these things like the law of attraction, right? I'm especially fond of the Rosicrucians, and I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to like religious studies and all the things. But the mystery school is really teaching on a personal. So I like the one-to-one aspect of it, and it's essentially the ancient, and some people would say more of like a cult um, teachings, but it's really these metaphysical spiritual teachings that were taught in intimate spaces um, since the days of King Solomon in the Old Testament. And so it is a mystery school because that was a download, really. It was a couple of different things. As you know, a lot of the information that I'm sharing is really personal and it's really sacred to
Mm.
me. And keeping that there's a word, I can't think of it when something is sacred, I can't do it right now. Keeping that sacredness, the quality of being sacred, and not necessarily blasting it all over the internet because people see things on the internet. We no longer believe everything we read, right? It
That's
is,
true.
yeah, it becomes just another claim along with all the other claims. And so I heard this is this is one to one. This is bring it into a very tight knit community. And I don't know if you've seen the Wonder Woman movie, 1984, the recent one. It's only a couple of years old, but essentially, Wonder Woman, the world discovers the law of attraction all at one time, and
Oh
they just
yes.
that it's real. And there's a stone from Egypt or something like that, and then at the end, everybody knows how to use these principles and it just wreaks havoc. Now, do I think this information is just for small group of people? Absolutely not. but with great power comes great responsibility. And so it doesn't need to be out there until somebody is ready.
Absolutely. Oh my word. I was like, we could go off on a whole thing here because I was thinking about all the impact that we each have on each other's consciousness,
Yeah.
and how actually, as coaches and healers, mystics, psychics, we have such a huge responsibility to make sure our own energy is of the purest and highest light when we're working with someone else's consciousness, because of the impact our energy is going to have on their energy, and we're all in this murky soup of each other's energies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely get it. And like you were saying, that piece around, I think we've got tired of seeing stuff on the internet where people are making these great big claims about X, Y, and Z, and so often I'll hear something, or I'll know something about that person. I'm like, that's just simply not true, what
Mhm.
you're putting out there. But our energy can feel it. I think that's the thing, is we're picking up on our energy's kind of going, there's something kind of wonky there. Um,
Yeah.
and so I love how you're bringing in this very intimate way of inviting people into your world, personal way, and really honoring and respecting who people are.
Thank
So
you.
we've kind of alluded to the mystery school.
Yeah.
We've revealed the name yet.
Mystery schools of manifestation. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's such a good name. When I saw it, I was like, "That's just so awesome." So, what
I couldn't believe it was available. I couldn't believe I was like, "What?" Yes, thank you. Thank you. It is not mine, but it's mine, you know? I was excited.
It's so good, it's so good. So tell everybody, what is the Mystery School of Manifestation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going along the journey with you. Yeah. Uh, it is essentially ancient teachings in a lot. So anyone that's familiar with the Gnostic teachings, Mary Magdalene is especially important in it, and it was something that was a gift. It was a gift. It is a gift. It is a gift from the divine, and it is absolutely centered around a lot of these more Gnostic, like I said, teachings, gnosis, knowledge, ancient wisdom, and parapsychology as well. I'm slightly obsessed with Carl Jung, and there are so many of his beliefs and teachings that actually have been not hidden, but not emphasized. And I went on this little journey over the past 2 years, really, of like diving into his life and his personal beliefs and his biography and all of that, and combining that with manifestation, spiritual principles, things like as above, so below, right? Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. The kingdom of heaven is within. It is through the eyes of a child. A lot of these downloads are, um, they're told through more traditional Christian teachings per se, but I'm very clear about the fact that I wouldn't label myself by the definition of Christian, but there are teachings. There's a lot of Christ consciousness in these teachings, and the message I'm receiving is that it is time. Like we came here for this year. This year, 2024 is the beginning of a shift into that union um, consciousness, right? The Magdalene is the Christ consciousness. And that's really what underlies it. But I like to also be very clear that it doesn't require any sort of religious beliefs or devotion in that space. It's really an intimate relationship. The main tenet of it is that we are temples,
Mm.
we are vessels for the divine energy, and the words that we use are really more about conditioning than history. But there are a series of experiments. So it's a year-long journey. It's an adventure. As you know, it's a choose your own adventure. The first month is really going to be, I call it an initiation, but that's only because it is something where it's like, okay, here's what we're doing. Are you ready? Right? Eyes wide open. Do we want to do this for the next year? And then the next 10 months are monthly experiments, and they revolve around spiritual principles. But also there needs to be something for the brain, right? To hang on to as well. The brain needs to be kept busy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Otherwise it's going to make up its own mischief.
yeah, yeah. So there's metaphysical principles and things. All of this aligns with quantum theory, with current understanding of how the universe operates, and it's just perfectly aligning, right? And it's just the same thing I did with the spiritual art of sales, except with regard to manifestation.
Mm.
Not what you're saying, it's not what you're doing, it's who you're being. That creates the manifestation. So, did that answer your question?
It did. And I love that so much. And that piece around who we're being creates the manifestation because we're always being something.
Right, we're human beings. Humans being.
Yeah. So this moment now I'm being something. My frequency is
Yeah,
just emitting out there into the universe, doing
yeah,
its thing.
yeah.
We're being. Wow.
Yes,
How powerful is that? That we're just these little magnets running around the
I know.
place.
It's
So
realizing,
excited.
right, yeah, it's realizing that it is our magnet. Really, I love how you say that. It's our magnet that creates more than anything else. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, it's just such a joy to see you launch this. I'm so excited for you because I know how truly magical you are, and having had your the experience with the spiritual art of sales and working together, and very aligned with how I like to do things. I just want to kind of give you a shout out for that there as well. What would you say then? Because there's so much here, so I'm going to put you on the spot. But what would be the top three tips that entrepreneurs could walk away with that you would say, like, these are the three things?
Yes, yes, yes. I spent some time thinking on this too. Sell what your soul wants to sell. That will change everything. And so often as entrepreneurs and human beings, we go up into our brain and we think, what will sell? Right? And we want to align, sure, we want to make sure we're selling something that will sell, right? So there's a principle here. You want to sell something that people need and know that they need, right? Filling that niche. And sometimes our job is to explain why somebody needs that thing, right? But if you try and sell something only because of the need and you are ready to evolve to your next level, there's a right? And then it's not gonna work. You've gotta sell what your soul came here to sell. It is if this is your dharma, right, follow your dharma, and abundance always follows. So, that's 2, really. Sell what your soul wants to sell. I learned from Deepak Chopra, follow your dharma and abundance always follows, and it does, absolutely. And surround yourself with a community of like-minded, like-spirited entrepreneurs who are, um, both at your level, a couple steps behind, and a couple steps above. Right? It's important to give back what you're receiving. And so we want to be in a community of people who are already doing what we would love to do so we can kind of be in that energy and learn from them, but also people that we can share battle stories with, a battle buddy, right? It's like, oh, you too? Okay, there's nothing wrong, right? Because it's so important. And I'm an introvert. So I would oftentimes put myself in a box and not ask for support and not engage in the community. And oh my goodness, it makes all the difference in the world to have one person, at least a battle buddy that you're like, I'm experiencing this. And they're like, me too. You're like, okay, it's normal. Continue. Right. Good. Keep it.
I
And then
love that
and then
battle
people
buddy.
behind you. Yeah. You want people behind you as well on the journey. So you can give back. And so your community is it's so crucial, especially now. I believe that. So yeah, that's 3. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think I was three. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I know that I'm in many communities and I absolutely love them, in various masterminds because of that very essence that you're talking about, being able to learn from those that are further along the journey, hear the battle stories that you were describing. Because that's the thing, and even in manifestation, this is kind of, I think, an important thing to talk about. It's not about um I heard on something I was listening to yesterday, the lady was saying around some people think you're building a business is just row the boat and manifest and it will happen. And I really love that because there is an element of, yes, of course, we've got to get the energy, but there's the strategy piece as well.
Right.
And you've got stuff going on around in the collective and the nonsense and the chaos and all the things and the market this and the market that. And
Mhm.
growing a business requires emotional resilience,
Yeah.
being able to develop your skills so you can grow with more ease. And I think that's really, really apt to call it a battle buddy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Not like
No.
a balloon buddy, it's like, actually, let's recognize that sometimes things, even though we're aligning our energy and we're manifesting and we're doing all the things, sometimes there is a contraction before their expansion.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's, I don't want to speak that into existence that that's always the case, because I do believe that we get to a place where things get better and better. And there's, to me, that turning point, that pivot is
Yeah,
certainty. It's certain.
certainty.
Yeah, it's certainty. But there's a battle before
Yeah.
if you're
That's the
waiting.
bit in the breakthrough, I think. That's the piece, isn't it? It's when we're in the breakthrough, we're about to come through, and then the certainty happens, and that moment, the frequency shifted, and we've gone into the expansion.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Being
Yeah.
able to collapse that timeline of the battle, I think, is what I'm hearing from around when we're surrounding ourselves in those communities, and being in really high vibe communities, because well, our consciousness is going to be influenced by the communities that we're in. So we want to make sure we're in the
Yeah.
right ones.
Absolutely. And especially in the beginning when you're developing that certainty, as well. We don't necessarily want to go. There's a time period, I believe, where you're still integrate or incubating, that idea before you can go out there and really share it with people who are not at. As teachers and leaders, right? There's a point where we have to go out and be and speak in front of those who need us, right? And
Mhm.
so it's so important to have a battle buddy there, because you can get pulled, because vibration, it'll pull you down, it'll pull you back, right? It'll pull you back into that space. And so having somebody there who's like, nope, you're not going there, right? I'm not leaving. I'm surviving, so you're coming with me, right? And you go back and forth. I've had that so many times where it's like, today I forgot who I am. Thanks for the reminder. You've got to be reminded almost every day. It's a continuous thing. So yeah.
Yeah, it's always another layer of evolution and growth. I think that as we're ultimately getting to the place to fulfill our soul's potential, because I think that's it. Our soul can have a much bigger dream than the human being kind of envisages or allow
Oh yeah.
ourselves to step into. And of course, that's the bit keeping the brain occupied whilst we're allowing ourselves to expand and to grow. Oh, there's so many huge tips there. I just think that is absolutely incredible. Deb, how can people get into your world, come and find you? Tell us all the things.
Yes, yes, yes. So, the best place to find me right now is the Mystery School of Manifestation podcast. So, all of my energy for my content creation is going into that, and telling the story. Season one is the story, right? And how I got through the battles, right? And then there's another season coming with interviews, and I want you to be on it as well.
I'd love to be
Yeah,
on
next season I'm doing interviews as well. Uh,
it.
so the Mystery School of Manifestation, that's how you find that. The new website is coming. However, as you know, there is a top secret event of the season that I only share one to one and at the end of the podcast. And it is a mystery on purpose. But it is absolutely designed to bring you, it's designed to have for everybody that goes through it to have some sort of a breakthrough in one way or another. And so the only way to get the invitation and the process of that non event is to email me and say I'm in. And so that email is hello, goodbye. And that's actually a quote from Alice in Wonderland. The rabbit says, I'm late, no time to say hello, goodbye. I'm late. So hello, goodbye at debcobb.com, DEBBCOBB.com. The subject line, I'm in, Louisa sent me. I'm in, Louisa sent me, and then you will get to have a custom personal experience of the non-event of the season, which is again all about manifestation, um, alchemy. Alchemy is the underlying message to the whole process. And so, yeah, that's how you reach me. That's
Oh,
how you reach my world.
so beautiful. And thank you so much. That's so generous. I'm so excited for our listeners. So
Yeah.
email Deb and say, I'm in, Louisa sent me. And I have to say, I've been to the non-event of the season, and absolutely phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So I'm so excited for everybody to come over and to experience that. And I'm not going to say any more because we need the mystery around it.
We need the mystery. We need the mystery. Exactly.
I
Thank
love
you.
it. The mystery just makes me feel so excited. I
Yeah,
just love it. It's such a juicy, gorgeous frequency around it. It's just absolutely fantastic. Deb,
thank you.
thank you so much. Please come back again. We can
Yeah.
have more conversations around manifesting and parapsychology and all the incredible things. And your podcast is phenomenal as well. So best huge luck. I'm in your world anyway. So don't know why I'm saying it like I'm not. I'm so happy and honoured to have you here with us. I cannot wait to be listening to your next episodes on the podcast and to be part of the Mystery School of Manifestation and seeing it unfolding
Yay.
and all the juicy things. So a huge thank
Yeah.
you to you, lovely. Um,
Thank you. The
thank you.
honor is mine. Truly. It is. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining us in this conversation. I hope that this has served you. Please do take up Deb's gift and email her at hellogoodbye@debcobb.com with the subject line "I'm in, Louisa sent me," and you'll experience her magic.
Yeah.
Sending you all lots and lots of love. Until next time, take care. Bye bye. Thanks for listening to the Infinite Prosperity Podcast. And if you like what you've heard and want to know more, please go to louisahavers.com. We just appreciate you so much. So thank you for listening and hanging out with us. If there's anything that we can do for you, you can email us at louisa@louisahavers.com. Let my team know if you have any ideas for shows that you'd love to hear or topics you want me to talk about. Really looking forward to hearing from you. All right, that is it for this week, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today. Looking forward to connecting with you again. Until next time, namaste.